Hey guys, it's Bro You Whack, and one thing that I love about the anniversary event is that they bring back all the limited time game modes from the past events. I get to play some of my favorites and even get to play some that cause me physical pain. My wiener, bro! Then what better time than now than to bring a top 5 video looking at the best event game modes. When it comes to the events, yeah, we love the skins, yeah, we love the cosmetic items, but after we pay for Jeff Kaplan's cocaine addiction by buying loot boxes, that's when we go and play the event game modes. We get stuff like Lucille Ball, we get stuff like Capture the Rooster, and my personal favorite, Snowball Fence. For some reason, people don't agree with me on that. And since that's what you guys wanted to see in last week's top 5 video, that's what we're gonna be doing this week, which if you guys still don't know how season 3 works, basically every single week we do a top 5 video and I leave it up to you heartless people to decide next week's top 5 video. Now normally the top 5 best workshop game modes gets paired up against someone else, and that's how I plan my top 5 videos. I decide the timing of it and I know it's probably gonna win, because you guys are heartless. And that's exactly what I'm gonna do now, because in the top right hand corner, you can vote. All you have to do is click that little eye, and you can vote between the top 5 best workshop game modes versus the top 10 best year 3 event skins. I figured the anniversary event is gonna be closing out here soon, and that means all the skins that you might have missed in the 3rd year of Overwatch are also gonna be going too. So, what better way than to help you decide what you're gonna spend your 1,000 credits, or if you're not broke and have AirPods, 3,000 credits, and decide what legendary skin you should end the year off with. But now that my suffering continues again for another week, now let's look at the best game modes that came with these events, which the game modes I will be looking at is going to be Copa, Lucille Ball, Junkenstein's Revenge, Snowball Fence, Yeti Hunt, Competitive CTF, Uprising, Retribution, Storm Rising, and Competitive Deathmatch. I figured the anniversary event had a kind of limited time game mode with that specific event, even though it didn't come this year. But hey, I'm not salty. But we can only pick 5 out of this whole entire list. And starting off our list at number 5 is gonna be everyone's favorite game mode, because it is the cutest and most adorable game mode. And no, I'm not being sarcastic. Snowball Fence. Hear me out. Snowball Offensive is just the cuter version of One in the Chamber, where you go onto Eagle Point, Antarctica, or a Black Forest, and you're facing up against another team of Maze, and you have to go and shoot them in the face with snowballs. Not bullets. That's so evil. With little tiny snowballs with rocks in them. I think the only reason why people hate Snowball Offensive is that it's Snowball Offensive. It's not McCree's Snowball Offensive or Soldier Snowball Offensive, because everybody else loves One in the Chamber because it involves McCree. Nobody ever hates McCree. Oh, but since it's May, we're gonna hate this game mode. It's the same exact game mode, all right? The only difference is that once you shoot your snowball, you have to go and find a strategically placed snow pile. You have to protect yourself. You have to use your wall. You have to calculate. It is so much more fun than One in the Chamber, all right? And trust me, your butthole will never be as clenched than when you're the last one alive on your team. All eyes are on you, and you have to face against 3 other Maze, and you don't even have your ultimate. But when you clutch the game up, everyone's gonna love you. You're gonna get all the e-girls in the world, because this is the only game mode you get it. Why was there no competitive Snowball Offensive? This was only number 5. I'm not that biased, but it's a good game mode. I don't care what any of y'all say. You just never played Snowball Offensive to the level that I've played it. Alright, number 4 is gonna be a controversial one, all because it was a limited time game mode, and then it was made a permanent game mode because it was a quote-unquote good game mode, even though they had to change it multiple times. But this is gonna be CTF, more specifically competitive CTF, more specifically competitive Capture the Rooster. Capture the Flag, as it's mainly known as, was a limited time game mode for the Year of the Rooster event known as Capture the Rooster. And it was just supposed to be a limited time game mode, but so many people loved it, even though it was littered with Symmetra, Torbjorn, and Bastions in every single game, because that was the meta for that game mode. It's kind of ironic because those are the least meta heroes, at least in that time period, in competitive. Now you guys have to understand that the original Capture the Flag game mode was not at all like how it is today, because back then there was actually a time frame that you had to go and capture the flag. I think it was about 3 seconds or so, but heroes could use their abilities. So heroes like Tracer and Lucio would often be the flag carrier because they could use Blink, they could wall ride, tried. They could amp it up and get to the point faster. And a lot of people still think that that's the better way to play Capture the Flag because it allowed for a lot more heroes to be played rather than just the typical meta that we see, which is a Roadhog, Lucio, Symmetra, Bastion, Torbjorn to guard the flag, and maybe a D.Va, maybe another healer, whatever the case may be. That's not to say Capture the Flag, and especially competitive Capture the Flag, isn't fun, but I would have to say the competitive part is what makes it fun because people take that game mode serious, but not to the point where they're roasting you or attacking your family and your virginity. You'd be surprised what I hear in games, dog. But that original Capture the Flag, Capture the Rooster is what started it all, and it was to the point where, yeah, a lot of people wanted it to be a permanent part of Overwatch, and would you believe it, Blizzard listened, and they made it a permanent arcade game mode that came every now and then. But now, ladies and gentlemen, now let's talk about what is possibly the most competitive game mode in all of Overwatch. It's more competitive than regular competitive. It's more competitive than competitive CTF. Ladies and gentlemen, the third best event game mode to come into Overwatch, it's got to be competitive Lucille Ball. Oh, yeah! I don't care what any of y'all say, you love this game mode. To have a game like Rocket League in Overwatch in the form of Lucio's booping a ball across a map was so different for its time, but it was extremely welcome because it was the first ever event game mode to come into Overwatch. People didn't really know to expect events in general, but also LTM game modes. And when they saw Lucille Ball, they were like, yeah, that's the thing. And when players saw that, they did one of two things. They either tried their hardest, tried to be the #1 Lucille Ball player in the whole entire world, even though there wasn't a leaderboard, or they lived a normal, happy life with a family and maybe got a mortgage and a dog. I don't know what you'd normally do if you weren't playing Lucille Ball, because clearly, if I was playing at the time, I would just be playing Lucille Ball, even though there wasn't a competitive... There is a God. In the summer of 2017, Jeff Kaplan himself blessed us with competitive Lucille Ball. They didn't need to do that, but I'm so glad that they did. And it was met with the same reaction. Either A, you sweated your hardest, you wanted to get to top 500, you were roasting everybody, and you were trying to do everything that you could to win the game, or you lived a happy and normal life going into debt from buying Yeezys, which I don't know what you'd rather do with your life, but me, I think I'd rather flex my top 500 Lucille Ball spray. Now, just like CTF, there were two different versions of Lucille Ball where it was changed in 2017, where originally Lucio's ultimate would bring the ball to you, where you wouldn't get a massive speed boost, adrenaline rush, and pretty much Jeff Kaplan on a Saturday night, and then afterwards they changed it to, well, where you played like Jeff Kaplan on Saturday night, coked up on cocaine. And unlike CTF, yeah, the second one was so much better than the first one. There is no better feeling than using your ultimate with Lucio and being able to wall ride and zip around the screen. And if you think Lucille Ball, and even more specifically competitive Lucille Ball, is not fun, you're not fun. I don't know what the definition of fun to you is, but being able to have a competitive playlist with a game that's not at all supposed to be taken serious is one of the most fun experiences you will ever have in your life, because you don't have to stress about losing 5 games in a row from someone not guarding the goal. God dang, you just gotta guard the goal. But being able to have a different competitive scene is something that I always look forward to when the Summer Games event does come around, and hey, it's coming up here soon, and I can't wait to get top 500 again. Yeah, you can definitely tell if I made my favorite event game modes, Lucille Ball, Mace, Snowball Offensive would be at the top 2. But now that we're getting to the top 2 actual best event game modes, I had to really look at both of these game modes and think, all right, well, what do I value more? The content, having fun, or a good story? And you'll soon see what I favor more in a game mode, at least in Overwatch's case, because at the number 2 spot, it's gonna be the most classic game mode of all time, Junkenstein's Revenge.
Of Junkenstein's Revenge.
I know this is going to be a fan favorite to the point where people are going to be arguing it being at number 2, and understand it could easily be at number 1. It's just so hard making a top 5 list to please all of you guys, but in Junkenstein's Revenge case, the thing that I love most about this is that there is a little bit of a story, but it's mainly just the gameplay. And after a game mode like Lucille Ball came into Overwatch, it could only go up from there, because then we got blessed with Junkenstein's Revenge, a terror, Halloween-esque vibe game mode that was brought with the Halloween event that can match perfectly up with the theme. We had Junkenstein himself, we had the Frankenstein monster, we had a witch Mercy, and we also had Who? Oh yeah, Reaper, I forgot about him. We have all of our favorite heroes in the forms of enemies in their brand new Halloween skins, and we got to fight against them in waves upon waves of Zomnics as McCree, Soldier, Ana, and Hanzo. An interesting lineup that you can't really build a story around. It was mainly just for gameplay purposes. But after that event game mode drop, that just set the bar high for limited time game modes. And I think Blizzard did a good job at meeting that bar, but man, the 2016 Halloween event was one of, if not the best event, not only for its time, but also even still going into the 4th year of Overwatch. Again, while the story wasn't all that intriguing or wasn't all that in-depth, it wasn't until the following Junkenstein's Revenge, like with Symmetra and the additions of Genji and all these other heroes that were soon added into the Junkenstein's lore, if you even want to call it that, that it slowly became a little bit more interesting, but still just as fun because they started to add more upon it, started added endless mode as well. It was just overall a perfect game mode to really set the standards for what game mode should be in Overwatch. And that's why I think it's an instant classic for most people and why a lot of people really like it. But it's really that lack of story that I'm pretty sure inspired Blizzard to make stuff like what we saw with the #1 game mode. Because ladies and gentlemen, the #1 best event game mode that came into Overwatch is gonna be Retribution.
Now, my friends would have me released within the week.
The quality, the fact that they built upon what they already established with Junkenstein's Revenge, the fact that they were able to add our favorite heroes and add a little bit of personality to them in the form of these animated shorts within the game, I don't think is ever going to be matched, especially when you look at Retribution itself. Out of the 3 PvE experiences, which is Uprising, Retribution, and Storm Rising, I would have to say Retribution would be #1, Uprising would be #2, and Storm Rising would be at #3 because it seemed like they took a step back, where Uprising was a good start at a story mode for Overwatch, and then they just took it up to level 11 with Retribution. And then they took a full step backwards with Storm Rising. I think they just really want to expand this story concept with Overwatch, even though the story is somewhat confusing. And while the story for Retribution can still be somewhat confusing, it was still beautiful to see the animated short that they added at the beginning with Reaper, McCree, Moira, and Genji, the whole entire Blackwatch organization, and then we're having to fight waves upon waves of Talon enemies, something that we have never seen before, and then we have boss fights in the middle of these big waves of enemies. The boss fights, man, they are so annoying, but so fun also at the same time. It really had this Left 4 Dead vibe that was sort of established with Junkenstein's Revenge, but just added upon it, and then a story was added as well to further enhance that PvE experience that makes a lot of people request Blizzard to do, is to not only make a PvE experience, but basically make a whole entire story or campaign in the Overwatch universe. Something that was never intended for Overwatch, but we fell in love with these characters, and we fall in love with these animated shorts, and we fall in love with the personalities of all these heroes that we really want to see this game come to life. Yeah, the multiplayer is so fun, but when it comes to these stories, we really appreciate it. And that's why I chose Retribution to be the best game mode out of all these events, because that was the peak of events when it came to Overwatch. Not only did they make these great skins, these great highlight intros and victory poses, and heck, even voice lines, but they also made amazing stories that I hope they can continue in the 4th year of Overwatch. And that's my list of the top 5 best event game modes that came to Overwatch. Overall, when it comes to the events, yeah, I absolutely love the skins. They're my favorite part about the event, but something that can make me come to Overwatch, but also make me continue to play Overwatch, that I always look forward to when it comes to an event, are the game modes. Competitive Lucille Ball, Maze Snowball Offensive, Retribution, they were all fun, but they have that Blizzard charm, and that's why I always appreciate Blizzard and the Overwatch team, is that they make all these stuff for the game that they don't have to. And that's why I love them. So anyway, guys, let me know what your favorite event game modes are in the comments down below, and I'll see you next week for the top 10, well, maybe the top 5 best workshop game modes. We'll have to see. I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. More Overwatch videos to come, and bye.